Hi. Finally. Okay. So it looks like it's kind of working right now. The lighting's interesting, of course. There's always seems to be something. All right, and I'm gonna let all that go. So I am waiting for my friend to come on. Super excited. We're talking about creature comforts. Guess what kind of creature I am? Can you guess? Let me know. Ah. What kind of creature am I today? And yes, my name is Siris Rivas, and I'm waiting for my co-creator, my co-creature for today to jump on. We're going to be talking about creature bodies and possible ease and elegance with those bodies. What would that be like? I wonder. Awesome. So I had to move around. You might have seen like a few seconds of a video with my feet or something running around, changing location because it was telling me that I had a poor signal. So now we're set up. How does it get any better than that? So I'm actually gonna be talking with Sayler Shiningstar, Reverend Sayler Shiningstar, and she has some amazing. Hi, darling.
Hello, hello,
She has some
hello.
amazing gifts and capacities with creatures. And so we like to talk about creatures and ourselves as creatures when we're together and get to play because creatures like to play. What kind of creature are
Yes.
you today, Sailor?
Oh, I am the energy of a dark fairy, and
Ooh,
yes, a little
I like the wings.
yes, a little mischievous and very playful, and very much into messing with the constructs that people have about light and dark, good and bad, positive and negative. You know, everything
Yeah.
is the opposite of what it appears to be.
And nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. So maybe just from looking at us, you would think that I am the sweet one, the good one that can do no wrong, that was always going to have your back, that's really kind. And maybe that's just like a little hidden secret. Like maybe I'm playing around with all these rainbow colors, and I'm actually the one that's going to be like stab you in the back, or that's going to be not so kind. Just because I have all these rainbow colorful things doesn't mean anything. Just like you having black and white and wings, because I don't have any wings right now. Sorry. Doesn't really mean that you're gonna not be able to be sweet. That you're the one that for sure is gonna stab anyone's back.
It's just, yeah. I want to shift a phrase. And the phrase is "beauty is in the eye of the beholder." Um, what we perceive, receive from others, most of the time, has to do with what's between our ears, not what we are knowing.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
some maybe preconceived notions, things like that. So when I'm doing fairy, like I love dressing up in different wigs and different animals, and we're gonna play around with that in the next couple of videos. Sailor and I loved joking around and play a lot of times with or without masks, with or
Yeah.
without wigs. We're always playing.
Yes.
And yeah, and it really is about our whatever thoughts we have, whatever beliefs we have, whatever conclusions we have about something, really puts that filter on how we can receive from different things or what we think is going to happen with certain things, certain people. And I
Or
wonder
what?
how much we have of that with creatures.
Yes. And I'd say in what we create,
Mm,
depending upon what
yeah,
we're
yeah.
thinking and feeling. Yeah, I'm kind of giggling. This morning we have, oh gosh, usually we have one or two crows. This morning we have about four, and
Maybe
yeah,
they think you're a crow
oh, they
with the black
crows are
feathers and the
crows are one of my power animals or totems or whatever you want to call them. Part of my team.
and
They
with those
bring lots
black
of
feathers,
magic.
they're like, mama, mama.
Yeah, so
So, and it's cool. The
Fun.
other thing I love about creatures is like, hey, you're dressed up as whatever you are right now, and that even when you have a people body, the crows are contributing to you. They communicate with you. Like, I was just looking out the window, and I had a bunch of birds like going and like singing and all of that. And if we're willing, if we have the point of view that we can receive from them, we can play with them. I wonder if there would be any creature that we wouldn't be able to play with. Like, is it just our point of view that we can or cannot play with certain creatures?
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I have a friend that goes for walks in the country, and she many times sees copperheads. She's not afraid of them. She doesn't shoo them off. She just communes with them and allows them to be where they are. She may walk around them. They may move on. Um, I remember walking through a desert, and I was picking cholla buds to use for different things, mostly for you know putting in salsas or in with pastas. And about halfway through, I kept hearing, "That's enough, no more. That's enough, no more."
Okay.
And I just kept thinking, "Oh, I'll get a couple more here. I'll go down a little further, get a couple more." Well, I was about 50 feet from the exit gate of this desert forest, and I went to pick a cholla bud, and I heard, "Look down!" And I did, and I was less than 2 feet from stepping on a rattlesnake that was quietly coiled up, sleeping. I know I woke it up because I wasn't gently walking on the earth. I had on heavy boots and blah blah blah, and it startled me. It was a beyond. I went, okay, I've been hearing you. I haven't listened. Thank you very much. I backed off a little bit, started to breathe, talked to the snake, said thank you. The snake hadn't raised up to strike or anything. The snake was just still very coiled up very quietly. And I took my water bottle and I poured out a little water, enough that if the snake had wanted to stick its tongue in there and get some moisture, or however they drink, I'm not real sure, it could have done that. And so thank you again, and off I went with my cholla buds and my experience of communing with the rattlesnake and not having listened to it early enough.
But here's the thing, it's still like, even if it's not early enough, it was still early enough because it was before stepping on it. It was before it striking. It was before you killed it or, smushed it or anything. And that's the other thing too, is I wonder for everyone watching this now and in the future, like, how do you receive information and awareness and communication from animals? Like, how do you receive messages from animals? Like, a lot of times for me, it's actually pictures. Kind of like how a lot of bodies talk to me, and a lot of children, they'll send me pictures instead of words. And I love hearing that you actually heard them, because sometimes I do, but that's definitely not as common for me as being sent pictures. And I'm willing to, but like, what if we could actually not make ourselves wrong for whatever way we receive messages from animals or don't receive messages from animals? Because I have some people that I know that you, in your horse classes, people have talked to you about like, well, I don't really get it the way so-and-so gets it. Or like, I'm not really sure that what I'm aware of is actually true. Like, how do I know that what I'm picking up on is from this animal or that animal and not from, like, I'm just making it up in my head.
Yeah.
And like, one of the things that like I at least tell the people, and I'd love to hear what you tell your people in your horse classes, is I just like ask a question. Like, ask a question for the awareness of, okay, is this mine or is it someone else's? But even one of the things I love about the animal messages for me is that it's often a lot clearer than messages from people, like, and from people bodies. Like, it seems to be clear, maybe because it's not full of all the judgment and all the conclusion as much as people's thoughts and feelings and emotions when I'm picking up on theirs. What do you tell people when they come and they're like, I'm not sure this is mine? Like, is it really the animal, the horse, or any other animal that's talking to me right now? What do you tell them?
I ask them to trust themselves and trust their knowing. And, yes, ask questions. They can ask for, you know, for themselves and their body what's a yes and a no, so that when they get something, they can actually ask whether, is this coming from this animal?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, if you don't really know your yes or no, or what's light and heavy for you, it may be tricky to, when you ask a question, to know what to do with it, whatever awareness, whatever energy comes up from that question.
mm-hmm.
So true. And I
Yeah.
wonder, I'm curious, like, if animals have their yes or no, like what that shows up, or if they just, they're kind of rolling with stuff and then they shift gears and they go like, okay, they just kind of be their knowing in a lot of ways. And be with their bodies in a really different way than us. And that's the other part for me, is that, like, being willing to have my awareness of my body, like, as the fairy, because yes, if you haven't guessed it, I'm a different kind of fairy. Like, so Sailor's a fairy and I'm a fairy today, and that's one of many creatures and
Yeah.
energies that we can be and play with if we want. I love being fairy energy. I have a friend of mine really close here in South Carolina that does these beautiful fairy figurines. Maybe she'll watch this
Mm.
at one point. I'll have to send her this video. But it's such an invitation to play and to commune and receive with your body. Like, as soon as I see her figurines, my body goes, woo, yeah, oh, wow, this is so awesome. Or
Yeah.
there's some of her fairies where I look at them and I'm like, my body softens and it's like, ah. And it's just different kinds of receiving. It's still receiving, it's just different.
Well, and I
And
think
what if there wasn't
that's
anyone with that?
yeah, and that's one of many ways people can receive from any of the nature beings or animals.
Mm-hmm.
It feels lighter. There is a I think even the messages that we may not want to get,
Mm.
um, if we're asking for change or not wanting to change, or I'm going to move this up. I'm starting to get a little warm outside.
Yeah.
We'll have feathers a different way. I kind of feel like a flapper or a dancer.
Ooh, I actually really like that. You're kind of like a flapper look right now.
um, yeah, none of it's ever really heavy,
Mm.
except when we think it's heavy, when we think it's going to be hard to change. Instead of asking, oh, so what's right about this, and how much ease, how much ease can I have with this?
I mean, how about if it's just as easy as what you just did with your mask, where you're like,
Mm-hmm.
changed, done.
Yeah,
This is what
yeah.
works for me right now. Like, that's lighter and easier.
That, and that's what the animals do.
Yeah.
I was out here this morning. I love being outside. We feed the squirrels, all sorts of birds. We've had all sorts of little fledglings, baby birds coming in with and being fed by their siblings, older siblings, or by their parents. Baby squirrels, adult squirrels. We've had possums on the deck. We had squirrels on the deck, raccoons. We have geese that come in, and I feed the geese. So lots of different creatures here. And I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, yes, I do. This morning when I was
Well, and
outside doing
here
that,
is in Durham, North Carolina, to be clear.
yes, yes,
In these
yes.
10 seconds.
And these 10 seconds, yes. So there are certain times of the day that the animals are out really asking for food. If I haven't been out, they come to the deck and sing and do all sorts of interesting,
And
cute
flirt.
things. Uh-huh. Um, as it gets hot, so we have a lot of times this is all lined with seed. There's a little bit back here. I've been starting to feed them out further. But we have squirrels that come and they actually lay across the board there and just stretch out, feet on both sides, one side of each, of the board, and they're kind of on their elbows feeding themselves. And then they pick
Mm.
up another one and with two hands. I can't do it with holding the phone
Yeah.
with the other one. So it's just so interesting, and so I look at this and say, oh, leisure time, just taking
Yeah.
time for the squirrel and enjoying the food is
Mm-hmm.
and other times they're stuffing things in their mouth and they're running off to bury them.
Yeah.
So
But even with that, then they're gonna like slowly eat them wherever they're at, somewhere else. So they're planning for their futures. And one of the things that I love about creatures is when we really are giving ourselves in our bodies the comfort that it requires, then it's a lot easier to perceive and create our futures. Like
mhm.
instead of hurting our bodies, instead of ignoring what our bodies are telling us and our awareness, and therefore like destroying our future and maybe cutting off an awareness of what's possible for our futures, when we're really indulging in these creature comforts, this really hedonistic pleasures of the food and the sunbathing and the breeze on our skin, all of that, they're getting louder. They're like, yeah, that. I see. Hi.
Yeah,
Um,
she's doing her basking.
yes. Yeah, the cats really know it. It's like they're able to live more sustainable lives, like when they're really listening to that, um, and have that leisure time where it's not just go 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 go. Like
Hmm.
that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to. This is and for those of you that are in other parts of the world, in the United States where we are right now. I'm in Savannah, Georgia. Sailor's in Durham, North Carolina right now. We're on our way to St. Louis, Missouri, and all over the United States, this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. So we honor the veterans of our military. And with that, it's a lot of times where it's these long weekends where people finally give themselves permission to relax, to
Yeah.
chill, to hang out with family in a way that's like real, that's not go 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 from one appointment to the other, and like and that's for me is a lot of what the creature comforts are all about. It's like, having those really yummy sheets on your bed and going outside for a walk and not having like a time like, oh, I have to do it from this time to this time.
Yeah.
My sister's like, where did you get the hair done? It's a wig. You can get this too. I didn't go to a stylist. So I can change at any point. You might see a different color wig in the next video. We'll see. Or something
Yeah.
else. But yeah, that's the whole play. Like, I love one of my favorite creatures are ones that have like that they actually camouflage and they change, like chameleons or different like sea creatures, and they'll change and blend into their environments, and that provides them with ease. It's like, okay, now I can just blend in and I can flow with what's going on here, and I'm not going to necessarily stand out until I'm ready to stand out, and or pounce or whatever it is you want to do. And I wonder how many of us have that capacity of changing colors, of changing personas, of putting on different costumes, and instead of it being like where it all of a sudden becomes solid and like, okay, now this is glued to my head and I can't take this off,
Hmm.
or you can't flip off your mask. What if instead we could actually just be able to shift and change no matter what? Would we be fun for us and not actually, cut off our awareness and futures by making anything, any role, any costume, like rigid and
Permanent.
solid? Yeah,
Yes.
permanent.
Yeah. You talking about that. You reminded me of shape shifting or becoming invisible, blending in so that we're not seen, or in really pulling in energy and then expanding and the potency we can be with that, and
Yeah.
just different playfulness that invites, I don't know, it invites others to come play, but for me it invites more playfulness
Yeah,
for
exactly. It's like
me.
for you first. Like, what if it could just be for
Yeah.
you first? Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Carmen. um, yeah, there's so much we can talk about here. I mean, as soon as you say shape shifting and actually blending in or not blending in, it also brings up like travel and like having your creature comforts when you're traveling and moving throughout the world and on this beautiful earth that's willing to contribute to us. Um, like when I travel all over, that's another example of that. Is like often people will assume that I'm from that place depending on where I am, because there's something about whatever I'm being that makes it seem like as if I'm from that country. A lot of my body will shift, my skin tone will shift, my hair will shift with the humidity or not humidity in different places. Um, and even how I'll start walking and like moving through those spaces will shift as if I'm part of that culture in that country. and then I go to another place and I shift again and I shift again and I shift again. And that's part of me having that ease with travel and navigating different spaces. And I wonder how many of you watching this have that ease and haven't actually acknowledged that, are shifting shapes all the time unconsciously. And what if you could actually be that consciously and use those capacities to your advantage, so you could have more of those creature comforts, more of that luxury, that opulence? Because there's a lot of animals that love opulence and luxury.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people often think about like beasts, and we can talk about that, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like there's also a lot of like, there's royalty, there's magnificence, there's a regality with some of the creatures too. And what if we can be any of those energies as well?
Yes, yes. That.
Like, you look very regal right now, Sayler. Like, I kind of feel like I should be like bowing down to you. Yes, yes, my highness, my queen. Like, oh my gosh.
I am so willing to receive, my dear.
Oh, yay. And that's the other part, is like, are we willing to have people contribute to our comfort as creatures?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's been more and more the case for me, but I know that there's more possible there.
I think there's always more possible.
Yeah.
And it's about how much are we willing to receive, and for each of us that's a different amount, depending upon who it is. For me anyway, I will say, so some people it's easier for me to receive different types of things. So some people it's easier for me to receive gifts, from physical gifts. Some people it's easier for me to ask for what I would like to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Other people, sometimes my body just kind of goes, ugh. Oh, okay, so what's my knowing here? Is that mine? Theirs? Somebody else's? Am I really not willing to receive from this being?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So, before we go, I'd love for you guys to kind of consider playing around with, what could you choose today that would tap into your creature comforts, that would provide some more comfort and opulence and luxury and play, that would be fun to play with today, that would tap into whatever creature you'd like, be it fairies, be it the squirrels and the fish and the mermaids and the unicorns and the dragons, whatever it is for you. Like, I could totally turn this into like a dragon with the same wig and like get this all colorful and then go, ah, like, that'll be another one. But like, yeah, you could, what would be fun for you today that would tap into maybe something that you used to do as a kid, that was the creatures that resonated with for you, that when you thought of them, lit you up, it was like, that's so the energy I'd like to play with and be right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then go and be and play with that. And thank you for all the veterans out there who are watching this and who have been contributing to the United States and beyond in the world. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I don't want to forget to say that.
Yes. And I would like to say, just as you're walking around or sitting inside, outside, just listen. Listen and see who and what you hear, who and what you might see, and also listen to your body. Ask your body who you're being in the moment, if you're shape shifting to something or someone else. So this is a weekend that people will probably be with family. I know at one point in time, I used to go from being whatever age I was back to age 5 when I was around my mother. Oh, it felt awful. We actually have a wonderful relationship now, many years later, and enjoy each other's company. But yeah, so just be aware, and be you.
All of the use, all of the energies that you be. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the playtime, Sayler.
Thank you, Siris. Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Yes. How much fun can we have this weekend?
Bye.
Bye.